Hi, this is Nicole, and this is for our Week 6 discussion board. In terms of the Child Maltreatment Index, I'd say some of its strengths include the fact that it is very thorough in addressing different areas of possible child maltreatment. It has a lot of good examples, definitions, and I think it really provides a good coverage of material for the personnel who are doing the assessments and screenings. However, I also think that that could also be a weakness because it is so in-depth. I'm sure the training process is very comprehensive and takes a long time before the personnel feel, comfortable with the material. And when you combine that with the fact that it takes up to 4 months sometimes to hire people, then you're going to be left with a gap between, first having adequate personnel available and then also having people who have comprehensive knowledge and intuition of assessing the different calls and screenings, which I think was part of what we saw with the case of Phoebe, because the one person who took the call didn't go to her supervisor and hadn't followed up with asking for an address in which to do the assessment. I think that case report was correct in suggesting that the behavior from the father was not indicative of him escalating to the point where he was going to kill his child, but I think the fact that he had such a pattern of domestic violence, of repeated law enforcement issues, needed to be combined on top of the fact that there were also several calls concerning the children and the possible, parental negligence. So I think that that's another point that with the Child Maltreatment Index, I think it needs to include some leeway for more intuition by the personnel who are doing the assessments. If they're seeing a pattern of repeated calls of, mental health issues, the parent's own perhaps past traumas, along with whatever substantiated evidence they can find, I think that needs to escalate that family's risk to a higher level of requiring an intervention, because I think human behavior is unpredictable, but when you're seeing a pattern of issues with a family, without an intervention, it's probably likely that at some point that behavior is going to escalate because it's not being stopped. And I think that needs to be part of the criteria when it comes to, assessing families, screening these calls, and getting involvement. Because Phoebe, they'd had these calls, but no one had really followed up after the parents broke apart. So there were plenty of opportunities in which to provide some sort of guidance, intervention for the family that, just that didn't get followed up. And so I think when you combine that with the child index, when you're combining the personnel's intuition, their gut feelings, and as well as the actual screening questions, I think you're more likely to get a solid picture of what could possibly occur, and therefore, hopefully prevent further issues like Phoebe's case from occurring. So, thank you.